Hey there, welcome back to our channel. Let's continue with our series. In the previous episode, we have seen how we can customize our payment, right? So we have added all the requirements from our backend side. And while we have just created the payment, then we have stored our client secret and payment ID as well as, right? And in the verification stage, you can see we are grabbing our authorized user and we are verifying the deactivate payment, like do we have any active payment or not. If we have active payment, then we are just try to get the status from our payment provider. And here only one thing left, like we need to call our create order functionality. Let's try to call that feature from here, right? So in this case, what we are going to do, we are going to say error, right? And error, where we will be saying user service, user SPC, just create order. And while we are creating the order, we are just simply passing this user ID, active payment order ID, and active payment ID, and finally the amount that is we have stored in our while we have just created our payment right here, right? So everything is right now it hooked up, right? So only thing maybe we can say here is we can just check it out if we have any errors right here. So let's try to do that, right? First of all, we will say if, and if any error, right? If error is not equal nil, then we can return internal error. We can say return rest internal error. Then inside the error, we will be going to, maybe we can just provide direct the error from the create order, right? So if you are returning meaningful error from here, definitely we no need to tackle it right there as well. Cool. So I think apart from the backend side, we are pretty much good at this point. So let's try to spin our application, right? So once again, we're going to spin our application, make server, and make sure all the old data we have just deleted from our payment. Let's try to refresh. We are going to delete this payment from here. Let's try to delete this one. Okay. Now let's go to our front end side. So this is our front end code. The repository you can find in the link below in the description. And in this repository, what are the changes we did? Just let's go and walk it through. In the API side, you can see here, this is our create payment API, where we are simply calling a kind of get function, and it says by our payment, right? So where it is going to create the payment. And verification payment, as well as you can see, we are not passing anything from here. And this is called buyer verify, right? And this buyer prefix we have added in our previous episode in order to get rid of root level authentication. And you can see here while we are creating or verifying the payment, it's a get call, so there are no any data you need to send from the front end side. So only thing is needed, this called XCS auth. So what exactly this XCS auth is doing, right? So if you go to XCS auth, you can see we are retrieving the stored token in from our browser. And we are attaching this stored token in authorized header right here as a kind of form of bearer token. That is what we are doing. And in the cart page, if you go to the cart page, inside this pages to the cart, and if you go to the index, so here you can see while we're calling this initiate payment, right? So first of all, it is getting all the cart items, right? So here it is getting the cart items, and it is aggregating once again from a front end side, just for sake of displaying all the data correctly. And then in init payment, once we have the proper data from here, then init payment is calling this create payment API. That is exactly this one, right? The create payment API. And once we receive the create payment API, as I have shown in the previous episode, we have our publishable key and the secret key. So for initiating the payment, we are setting it up like publishable key and secret key in a form of the credential, right? So at least we can initialize our payment. So this is our display card stuff where we are displaying the card items. And if you go down a little bit below, right? So here, yeah, this one. If we have the payment credential, then make payment component is going to be mount, right? In the make payment component, we are passing our payment credential secret and publishable key. And once this make payment will be successful, then it will redirect to our success URL. Otherwise, it will going to redirect to our failure URL. This simple way you can say this one, right? So once we are in our the inbuilt feature, that is we just try to cover in that one, we have just pass our success and failure URL to provider. Then the provider was diving these things to our page, right? and we are not having any control. But in this way, right, in the current integration way, so we have our full control. Like, we can directly, maybe we can, instead of this post order, we can maybe directly call this API call, verification call here as well as. But we don't want to do in the component level. That's why actually we are providing these things to a kind of different route. So that particular route can handle a meaningful message and loader or something. This is really going to be a very good experience for user, right? So once we are receiving the successful response, then we are pushing these things to post order. Then, or if it is failed, then we are pushing these things to fail order. And all of these routes, you can find it out here in route manager somewhere. Yeah, this one here. So you can see all of the routes are listed here, right? So for success, this is the fail order, or this is the post order, right? So if you go to post order, then you can see here, this profile is not being used, but as soon as this page is loaded right here, right? Because initially it will be going to confirm will be false, then the confirm order will be going to call, right? And once it is confirm order will be getting called, then you can see it is calling the verify payment. And this verify payment exactly, it is from the payment API. You can see this one, right? It's a get call. And while it is receiving the response, you can display the response somewhere also, or you can do some kind of front-end logic. So while we are performing this call, then there is a kind of variable we are using. This is called load, all right? So set loading, we are initially putting true. So at least we can see the spinner or something is it's going on right here. Then once that is done, then it is like displaying the thank you for your order. We will notify further steps. That is exactly it is displaying. Or maybe what we can do right after this one, maybe we can just put it inside a div. All right. So and right here, not this one here. Here we can directly display JSON stringify, right? JSON stringify. This response, maybe we can set it here somehow. So let's try to declare one more variable. This is called const. Const will be use state, and this is going to be some kind of object, maybe you can say, or anything maybe, right? And you can say the response, payment response, set payment response, right? So this payment response we can directly display here, right? Initially we are going to put it some kind of object, or maybe undefined, maybe any, or maybe you can just like put it like this. This is enough, I think. Then the set payment response, we can put it right here. As soon as we are receiving the response, then set payment response will be response, right? So this is the way maybe we can like display the whatever the response we are receiving from our server, we can display here. So, and overall, the rest of all the features we have not changed it yet. And let's go here to the card page once again, just to understand what exactly happening there. So here, so far you can understand the payment credential that is being set as soon as we are hitting the place order button, right? This init payment is going to be called. If you find this reference here, you can see like, as soon as place order, we are hitting the place order button, then this init payment will be getting called. As soon as this init payment is getting called, as soon as it is received the secret and public key, then this component will be mount, like the payment component, right? So here, and not here, I think, yeah, this one, the payment credential is there, then payment option is going to be displayed. So if you see in the payment options here, this make payment, the component will be mount. Let's go to the make payment component. Let's close rest of all other tabs. Then you can see here, make payment is receiving the accepting this client secret and the publishable key, total amount. Success and failure is a kind of events or function, you can say, from the make payment itself. And this page you can customize your color theme and everything, like just like your website, whatever you are going to customize that particular payment form, right? And these are the elements exactly which is we are using from the Stripe.js. You can see this is the Stripe.js, React Stripe.js. And if you wish to customize your form or look and feel, then go ahead here. Here the appearance class is there, like from that is provided from Stripe, where you can change the theme and the way of the looking the card, the the design as an example, like cart numbers, how it has to be displayed, CPP number, and etc., and how button will be look like. In terms of, like, in our case, we're simply keeping one single button that's called maybe here checkout from. And if you go to this checkout from, you can see that pay now. You can mention whatever the fields or whatever text you wish to display. And this button also you can design accordingly. And all of the payment elements, like here, this is the payment elements component that is coming from Stripe JS. And you can pass all of the styles right there, whatever exactly they're giving the guidelines accordingly, you can put it right there. So that's all we did for our collecting the payment and customization stuff. So let's try to spin our application. So first of all, we will make sure like everything has been installed correctly. So yarn, right? Then yarn start. Cool, it is spinning on localhost 2000, and you can see we don't have any data right here, right? So maybe we need to check like our server is running correctly or not. So let's go to our server. Yeah, it is running correctly, right? So let's go here and let's see what are the endpoints we have right there, and do we have any failure in the network call. All right, so it seems like we have some course issue. So localhost 9000, it is not giving any data. So why exactly it's not giving any data? So let's try to check it out. So here, if you go to the Go application in the server, maybe you might have remember while we have initialized this project. So we have added the course configuration in terms of course origin, resource access configuration we have added. So let's go to internal and go to our, go to here, maybe main.go, then go to server. And here I did. Can you see, like, this is the localhost 3030 we have just added. So as of now, we can just like, maybe we can allow 3000, right? Because our port is running on 3000 for the front end. And let's try to refresh our application once again. Now, can you see it is giving back all the data? So that is the, it's a kind of, you can say security hack. You can add it right there, while your backend resources only going to be acceptable from certain domain. Like maybe you can just like add the domains in various way. Maybe comma separated value also you can provide it there, right? So in our case, we are using course flow. So just like go ahead and check the course documentations, how exactly Fiverr is handling this course stuff right there. So maybe you will get some useful information from there, how you can add the multiple domains right there, right? So we are not going to put our hands on to do that, right? So let's stick with the current tutorial. So in this case, we can see we are having our products, all right? So let's try to do login, right? And do login, and we are going to use the same user that is we have been used for our Postman sign in. Then we have successfully signed in, and you can see like this navigation bar still we need to tackle it, right? So let's go to the cart, right? Though this navigation bar is not showing, but still we have the cart data, right? So right now, what we can see, we have our only one product and it is costing $2, right? So let's try to go to our Postman, because maybe we can add one button right here just to increase the product quantity, because this is a kind of backend course. That's why we are not focusing on the front end stuff. Maybe you guys know better than me in the front end side, just to go ahead and add all the stuff right there by add button, like adding the quantity and all. So let's go to Postman and try to add one more thing right here. So this is a get cart call. You can see this product ID is 8 and quantity is 1. So let's go to our once again to add this particular item, maybe add one more by going to create cart, and we can say quantity is 2, let's say, right? And send, and we can see right now 2. So let's try to go to our front end side and try to refresh this one, right? You can see we have the 2 quantity, right? Quantity is 2 and total amount is 4. And here also product price is showing 4. So let's try to open the inspector so we can see the network call, whatever the backend call is going from here. So let's try to click on the place order, right? So now I think this neighbor also it's showing the correct data. Let's try to click on the place create order, and you can see it is displaying correctly this whole payment form. And if you see in the network call, the payment, you can see we are receiving the public key and the secret key as well as, and once we are, and we have the payment page. There are nothing like all the product item we are not displaying right here. We can see maybe you can remove this one as well as, but for sake of how much money we are going to charge, that's why actually we are displaying all these things. Your card will charge $4, let's say, right? And if we go to the data grid also, we can, if we refresh this one, right, this page, you can see our product has been created, like our payment has been created here, right? So here in the data grid, you can see our payment has been created. So let's try to close rest of auto tabs. And our payment ID is this one, right? This is our payment ID, and the status is initial. And you can see our client secret. We have our client secret as well as we have our order ID as well as. That's really cool, right? So let's try to minimize this one, and let's go to Frontend once again. And what we are going to do, we're going to enter our payment information. This is going to be 4242, right? And this is any future date, 12, let's say 35 or 35, and 123, anything, right? So here you can put your country, and we are not going to put anything right here. So this is optional. You can choose while you are going to customize your form. Then maybe you can just like stop these things as well as gonna say like we don't want these optional options to display while you're collecting the payment. And eventually, if you are passing this country, all right, so while initiating the payment, right, then this country also not going to display, only just like card number, expiration date, and security code. So this design, I'm not very good at design, so maybe you can just like check the Stripe documentation for React.js part, right? The Stripe.js. There you will get kind of beautiful design, or they have already described the way of designing a lot of stuff in the payment page. All right, cool. Then what we can do, let me make it a little bit smaller, right? So we are going to click on the pay now, and we will see like what other things are happening right here. Click on the pay now, right? Yeah. Can you see like it is just like loader was there, and it is polling to this page. And what exactly it is displaying right here? So first of all, let's check it out the response, right? So here in the network tab, you can see we have selected this one, Pets HR, and here in the confirm, we have received all the payment response there. The confirm call in the payload and header, you can see it is a kind of call from our Stripe, because the front end, like all these payment fields, that payment fields is getting called the Stripe, and this response exactly receiving from Stripe, where this is our payment ID, and in the response, it is returning as a payment was successful. And this is our own call to the backend, right? If you go and see to the header, you can see localhost 9000 buyer and verify. And here, can you see the authorization? It is already this particular page. And I mean, if you go to this whimsical diagram, this page exactly, right? Right after successful payment, it is grabbing the authorization header, and it is calling to our backend service and verifying to the payment provider, gonna say, hey, payment status, provide me payment status. And it is giving back, and then it's giving the response to this page. This is what exactly happening right now. You can see this is what exactly happening. This is the authorization token, and this response exactly is coming from our Stripe. And by saying the authorization stuff, right, you can see in the status, payment status somewhere here maybe. Yeah, payment method was a card. Yeah, payment status is succeeded, right? So we have everything there. And if we say, let's try to close this one, and if we see this one, this whole page, we have whole lot of, like we have just like try to print it out all whole JSON stuff, right? Let's go to our data grid now. Check it out the payment. Let's try to refresh it, right? So you can see right now it is updated and its payment status is success, and this is our payment response, right? And you can, yeah. So everything is done right there, right? And let's go to the order and let's see like whether we have orders or not, right? You can see like our order has been created. Can you see this one, right? So this is order amount is $4, right? And this is our order reference number, and this is our payment ID. That is the payment ID we can utilize just for finding it out all the data. Cool. I think whole pipeline we have just covered accordingly. Like our Go application is perfectly able to register our user, verify our user. It can fetch the profile as well as. If you go to this front-end application, all right, so let's go to account, and if you go to the profile section, you can see this is the information which we have stored. And if you go to address, you can see like all the address details we have stored right there. And for that thing, if you inspect this one, and if you go to the network tab, like right after refresh this page, you can see this is the exact call it is getting called to our backend, right? And all of this data we are getting display. So maybe you can just like, remove this password from while you are responding this data to backend front end. Then from the backend side, you need to remove this one, right? So make sure like you are removing all these things from there, right? And so far everything looks good. Like, we just made through from start to end, like, how we can create our user, how we can do all of the routing stuff, and how we can just create a transaction and product and etc. So I hope like throughout of this series, like we have covered everything. So in this section, in the next episode, what we're going to do, we're going to prepare our application to deploy on our AWS with the help of some kind of like maybe container or maybe some kind of like EC2 machine. And we will set up some kind of, you can say, GitHub pipeline where we will be going to push this code to GitHub, and GitHub will be responsible to deploy all of these things right there. And frontend we are not going to deploy because this is not a kind of part of this course. After that, we are going to put our hands on how we can split this whole application to microservice architecture. That is also we are going to look into. Cool. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and I would like to see you in another episode. Bye bye.